Hey there, welcome to the channel. I'm Cindy Daychuck with Queen Bee Creations. Thanks for joining me today. We are going to do two Christmas projects. In particular, we're going to do two wooden Christmas trees. So two very different projects, but both that are going to give you kind of a wooden tree that's a little different. We're starting with this. So what I had managed to do was I thrifted these nesting wooden shelves. So they happen to be fairly large, so these will make a fairly large Christmas tree. But you can get sets of wooden nesting shelves similar to this that are wood. From Walmart and I was going to say Kmart, but I don't think Kmart exists anymore, but Walmart does. But any shops like that. I know in the shop, I have a brand new set in the box of smaller wooden nesting boxes that I had contemplated for this. And then I managed to find these ones. So for $7. Cool. So the idea here, I mean, obviously I'm not going to be hanging them, but I'm going to leave the hardware on because who knows, whoever gets it may want to hang it. It's going to be perfectly fine to be able to hang it. But the first thing that needs to happen is I need to get them painted out. So here you can go in whatever direction you want. I mean, you could do white distressed tree, you could do a red tree, you could do a purple tree. I'm going to do a green tree because I can, because I want to, because that's my thought. I am going to use Bayberry by Fusion. It's going to dry a little bit darker than this, but I wanted something that was not that bright Christmas green. I wanted it a little bit softer. And so my task is to get that open nicely. New jars, they always open so nicely. My task is to get 2 coats of this on. And I'm using Fusion because, one, I have it. I sell it here in the shop, queenbeecreationshome.com. So it's accessible. And because I have a million Christmas projects on the go, and this is going to self-seal. So it's going to save me a step that one of my other paints might not. But look how lovely that's going to be. So I'm going to get 2 coats on all of this, and then we'll be back for the next step. But this is going to be super, super cool, super cute, and super easy. So all those supers, they pay off. Okay, while my coats of paint are drying on those sections, I want to get started on this guy. So I have this that I thrifted, since I'm pulling the thrift sticker off, and it just happens to go perfectly. So what I am looking at doing is I want to paint this gold. I'm going to be doing some gold waxing, so I just need to get some gold color on it rather than the worn look. I don't have to paint on the inside because it's the planter and we're going to be adding stuff into that. I'm just looking kind of going, oh, all the brushes I want to use are elsewhere, so we'll use a different brush. So I'm thinking likely 1 coat is going to be all that I need. I'm just using what I have, which is this Decor Arts gold metallic that I got from the local craft store, from Michael's. And it's not brassy, it's not in your face, and that's kind of what I'm looking for this. We've got the softer green, so I don't want to have this being super bold, and I'm going to be adding more anyway, right? I'm going to be adding some decor on the inside of it, so I'm just looking at taking it from just this barnwood look to a little bit more gold. And then when I zhuzh up the green tree a little bit, I can also do a little bit of that to this. So all that we're looking at doing is likely just the one coat on this for now, and seeing where that takes us. Okay, while I have the other project drying before I can move on, I wanted to at least get started on this next project. So let me show you what I did. I took 3 pallet boards and I just drew kind of the rough start of a triangle here. So what I did do was I took a look at how big this is. So just 4.75. So it gives me an idea of this. And then I cut those out. So you could use a handsaw, you could use, a chop saw, you could do a scroll saw, whatever you got, right? I cut those out and then I flipped the boards around. So you can see from this line, if that's where it's cut, I could now use this board for my next row, right? You could see that now this is where this is cut. I could use this angle. So then flipping the boards back and forth now to do the remainder. So what I ended up with was this stack. So they all line up to be able to form a Christmas tree. Except this last one, which I pieced together. And then I have one long board that ultimately they'll get nailed to, and then I have to look for a platform still. But there's still work to be done on these. What I'm going to do, how many have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, figures. All right, so I have Apothecary by DIY, which will be the first color, and then beadboard, which is white, and then I have this blue mix that's sitting up on my shelf. So I'm going to do that one, and then I'll do the green, the white, the blue, and then the green. So I'm going to be beginning and ending with the green. I'm going to paint one side and the edges in these. I have not sanded these boards, so you can see how rough that grain is. So I'm going to paint them really well, coating them really well, and then I'm going to sand them smooth. So I'm going to get a very worn and distressed look to these. So I'm just going to get started painting and letting these babies dry, because then I have all the sanding to do. Oh, let me get this going first. This is only going to be good from one direction because I'm going to have the support post going up the back of it. So I'm not too worried. I'm not worried about painting the backs of these, but I do want to get all of the sides, and you can see that I'm really saturating this because there's a lot of sanding that's going to be taking place on these, and I'd like to have some color remaining. So green, white, blue, green. So I'm just going to get these all painted and dry before we can move on. I just wanted to show you now that I'm in the process of starting to sand. You can see the difference between this that's been sanded and this that isn't. Super rough, nice and smooth. You can see the wear patterns. And so I've done the top 4 of these. I still have these last pieces to go. And then we'll be back because we got a seal. And I'm thinking I might do just plain wax on these and maybe white wax on this to kind of get a little bit of a softer tone, because that's kind of a little bolder than I'd like. It's waxing time. You can see the difference that just adding the clear wax makes, right? Because this is the DIY paint, it actually is one of the few paints that dries lighter and it darkens up as you seal it, whether with wax or with your polyacrylic. So I'm going to do the green and the white with this. The blue is a little bit darker than I thought. So, well, no, not that I thought. I kind of thought I might have this problem. So I'm going to put a bit of the clear wax on it. And then I'm going to take a bit of the white wax. And I'm going to cover this. And then I'm going to kind of wipe it away. So that what happens is we get a little bit of that white kind of drifting over it a bit, kind of sinking in and soaking in. Not as much as if I did it directly on the wood itself without the clear wax, but I didn't want to go overboard with it. I still want the blue showing. I'm just softening it slightly. So just as a comparator, let me do this end of this board just in the clear. That's the difference, right? Softer, fits in with my colors just a little bit better. So I'm gonna finish that part off, and then we got some nailing to do. I'm standing up for this so that I can have the right angle. But I'm gonna use my brad nailer, but here's the deal. The nails that I have go through the big stick I'm using, barely go into this. So I am going to have to do the reverse. I am going to have to nail it from the top so that more of the nail goes through my wood and anchors it down into the piece. So I'm just doing a little bit backward from what I expected, but it'll be okay. Okay, the next step in my little green graduated boxes here is I want to take some of that same gold paint that I painted our star in, and I just want to kind of loosely brush it across these raised dots that I have. I mean, this is kind of a detailed section that I might as well highlight since it's bonus that I have it. If you're doing this with some graduated hanging shelves and they're just plain, then no, you can add your own trim detail. I mean, you can either start before you paint it and glue on some half beads or like a full, plastic bead strand. Once it's painted, you'll never know. Whew. Something fell, something scared me. Okay, when you're here by yourself and all of a sudden there's a weird noise someplace that you're not in the shop. You could take IOD molds, and they've got the trimmings molds. So 3 different ones. Pick the one that has a trimming that works for you, that would fit on this. That works. You could wait till this was all painted out, and you could, let's face it, you could paint this out and you could decoupage the inside with some Christmas paper or the outside with Christmas paper. You can glue on some rickrack or some decorative trim. You could nail in some rounded upholstery tacks and that you get. You've got lots of options for zhuzhing these up and adding a little bit of texture on the outside, right? So you can see just that little bit of gold, which is going to tie it into our star on top. So just because mine saved me that step and it came that way doesn't mean that you can't easily add something on to be able to add a little bit of detail onto the front of yours. In which case then, if it was a painted surface, go ahead and add a little bit of a highlight to it, just so it stands out a little bit more. Next step in the process for this guy is I want to attach a little bit of a hanging string. This is the top because I'm just being very conscious of the fact that it's got hanging hardware attached to it in case somebody wants to actually put it on a wall. So have it so that that's the top. I'm going to hang a bauble from inside each of my respective boxes. And I will say this. I thought that I had eye hooks. I thought that I had fish line here. I didn't have either. So I am resorting, because I'm in the shop. I can't leave. So rather than lose an entire day to getting eye hooks and fishing line from the dollar store, I am making do. So I have beading wire and I have small little tacks. I had big upholstery tacks that I thought would be perfect, but they're way too long. So they would have popped right out of my wood. So I have these little tacks that I've tied the beading wire to. Now, if you've used beading wire, then you know beading wire doesn't actually tie. So I've kind of tied it into knots, and then I have glued it with hot glue. Just, you know, if you got an eye hook and some fishing line, that's the perfect way to do this. So what I am looking at doing, I'm probably getting out a little bit of a ruler here. Oh, that's why it was coming apart. There's two of them. Okay, so about the 4.5 inch mark and down in the center. So I'm going to nail this down in place. And if I can get it down tight, then that should also help hold my wire. And all I'm going to be doing is hanging each of my respective baubles from that top. I just want to make sure that they're kind of hanging in a good spot for their size. That would work for me. And then now I just have to repeat the whole process of trying to convince this to tie. But I'm going to do that for each of them. So I'm going to get each of them with a bauble hanging in place. And then we just have the star. We have a little bit more to go on our star. It is now time to finish off our star topper. So all that I'm looking at doing with this is I have a couple of picks from the dollar store. So $1.75, because nothing is just $1 at the dollar store anymore, but $1.75 for these guys. And I have some gold balls as well. And we're just going to be, you know what? We're just going to be putting this together, right? It's just, I just want kind of fairly simple, because this is for a big green Christmas trees. So I just want something fairly simple, nothing too elaborate, nothing too huge. And it's just, you know, starting to, got a piece of florist foam in there, and we're just gonna take our greenery and we're just gonna start sticking it in. And then I'll probably fit these pine cones in somewhere maybe. Definitely gold balls, because we've got the gold here, and we've got some of the gold balls hanging from, I don't even see an opening for these. Okay, then I'll just cut the package. I'm sure there's an opening somewhere, but I don't know where it is. So we'll just cut this open, and then I can access the balls. So the difference with the balls is that, you know, I might be able to glue some in place, and then some, if I needed them higher, I may have to put on a stick, right? So I have some floral wires that I've saved from when I've cut other things off of them, and then this is where I use them. So you would take the ornament hook out, glue this in, cut it where you need to, and then be able to use it just like you do any of the other picks. Well, I had to be this far away to be able to show you the projects, because there's no way that I could fit this guy into the screen otherwise. But this is our stacking cubes. So I have hung the gold balls in there. I think that again, our little tree topper with that star with the greenery and the balls is just kind of perfect. I didn't show you guys a close-up of it, so let me do that. So very simple, right, in terms of the finish with just the greenery. We've got a little bit of gold leaves in here and the balls, all from the dollar store, so very inexpensive. The rest was all, let me make sure I get it up there. The rest was all just, these were thrifted. And then we have our multi-toned wood tree, just in the nice soft colors, great up on like a credenza, just a soft shelf sitter, you know, just on your buffet table or something. And again, in very different colors. This is, I'm gonna say a little more traditional, although, you know, I'm not sure square Christmas trees are traditional, but it definitely is more in keeping. This is a little bit more seashore kind of inspired tree. Again, it could work in your decor for other seasons as well. But again, just a fun way to be able to add in a bit of Christmas without it necessarily screaming Christmas. But two very different wood options. Certainly, again, with this one, you could have painted it out in the more traditional green. You could have distressed it. You could have put gold stamping on it or white stamping over a really dark green. I mean, you could have glued some little round gold baubles onto it. There's a host of things that you could do, and it's all from quick little pallet wood. So made up very quickly, very easy to do. Again, you could hand saw it, you could use a scroll saw, you can use a jigsaw, whatever tools you have available. If you don't even have that, or you don't want to do angles, it would be very cute done with increasing lengths of just squared, straight cut wood as well. Again, it doesn't have to be triangular. You get to do what you want to do. I hope that these have given you some options in terms of different ways that you could put Christmas trees into your home, added into your decor, thinking outside of the box a little bit. They don't all have to be the traditional fir tree, right? Let me know what you think of these ones, guys. As always, I love hearing from you, and I definitely look forward to seeing you on the next one. Until then, take care.